In the early hours of June 5, 1960, 4 teenagers were attacked while sleeping inside a tent near a quiet lake in Finland. 3 of them were beaten and stabbed to death. The 4th survived with a fractured skull and a shattered memory. For decades, police searched for a killer who may have never left the crime scene. Because 44 years later, the only survivor was arrested for the murders. This case is not a legend. It is not a ghost story. It is a real police case. And to this day, no one knows who killed them. At Lake Badam, in June of 1960, Finland was entering summer. The weather had turned mild. Cities were slowly emptying, and people were heading toward forests and lakes to escape routine life. Among them were 4 teenagers looking for a simple weekend away. 2 18-year-old boys, Nils Gustafsson and Seppo Boisman, had been close friends since childhood. They were joined by 2 15-year-old girls, Mila Barklund and Anja McKee. Both girls were romantically involved with the boys. They'd planned a short camping trip, nothing extreme, nothing reckless. Just a few days away from the city. Their destination was Lake Badam, located near the town of Espoo, west of Helsinki. The area was known for its forests, clean water, and isolation. The parents of the girls were hesitant at first. Arguments followed, accusations of being too strict. Eventually, permission was given. On Saturday, June 4th, the 4 teenagers rode their motorcycles out of the city and toward the lake. None of them knew this would be the last trip 3 of them would ever take. On the way, they stopped at a small roadside kiosk to buy snacks and drinks. An elderly woman was working there. When they asked her about good camping spots near Lake Badam, her demeanor changed. She warned them not to camp near the lake. Not casually, not jokingly. She told them to stay away from the area entirely. The teenagers dismissed the warning, assuming she was exaggerating. But as they drove away, one of the girls noticed something unsettling. The woman had stepped outside the kiosk and was silently watching them leave. They eventually found a secluded spot on the southern shore of Lake Badam. A small peninsula surrounded by trees created natural privacy. Hidden, quiet, and far from other visitors, they set up a single tent close to the water. As evening arrived, they drank alcohol, talked, and laughed. Finland's midnight sun meant darkness never fully arrived. The sky stayed dim, suspended between night and morning, creating an uneasy stillness. Around midnight, the boys went fishing. Later, all 4 drank heavily. By around 2 in the morning, exhaustion took over. Anja went inside the tent to sleep. Mela stayed outside for a while, writing in her diary. Her final entry described how happy everyone seemed. Those were the last words she ever wrote. Sometime between 3 and 6 in the morning, someone approached the tent. The attack did not happen inside. It happened from the outside. The tent was slashed open. Blunt force trauma was used. A sharp weapon followed. No screams were reported. No one nearby heard a struggle. When the attack ended, 3 teenagers were dead. One was left barely alive. At around 11 in the morning, a local man walked toward the lake with his children. From a distance, he noticed what looked like a pile of trash near the shore. As he got closer, something felt wrong. He told his children to stay behind. What he found was not trash. It was a collapsed tent, torn apart and soaked in blood. A body lay on top of it. Another body was partially visible beneath. The man ran to the nearest phone and called emergency services. Police arrived quickly. Inside the tent were the bodies of Seppo Boisman and Anja McKee. Both had been beaten and stabbed. Outside the tent lay Mela Barkland. Her injuries were the most severe. Multiple stab wounds and extreme blunt force trauma suggested she had been specifically targeted. On top of the collapsed tent lay Nils Gustafsson. His skull was fractured. His jaw was broken. His face was unrecognizable. His shoes were missing. At first, police assumed he was dead. Then they noticed movement. Nils was still alive. He was rushed to the hospital and survived. But when he regained consciousness, his memory was gone. He could remember almost nothing about the attack. Only one detail remained. He recalled seeing a dark figure outside the tent. No face, no voice, no explanation. The investigation quickly descended into chaos. Police failed to properly secure the crime scene. Locals walked through it. Journalists entered freely. Soldiers were even brought in to help search the area. Evidence was destroyed unintentionally but permanently. Investigators were forced to rely almost entirely on witness testimony. Several witnesses reported seeing a tall, blond man with a broad jaw near the lake that morning. A young fisherman described the same figure. Under hypnosis, Nils described a man matching the same appearance. A composite sketch was created. During the funeral of the victims, a man resembling the sketch was seen standing among the crowd. No one recognized him. Over the years, multiple suspects were investigated. A violent local man known for harassing campers. A German immigrant with a disturbing history and erratic behavior. Both were eventually cleared. One suspect later drowned after allegedly confessing while intoxicated. Another died by suicide in prison years later. No charges were ever filed. The case slowly went cold. Lake Bodam became a name whispered across Finland, a place parents warned their children about. Then, in April 2004, 44 years after the murders, police knocked on Nils Gustafsson's door. Advances in DNA testing had reopened the case. Blood found on Nils' missing shoe matched the 3 victims. None of it belonged to him. Authorities arrested Nils and accused him of murdering his friends in a drunken rage. Prosecutors claimed an argument escalated, leading Nils to attack the group and then stage the crime scene. The defense argued otherwise. Nils' injuries were catastrophic. A man with a fractured skull and broken jaw could not overpower 3 people, hide evidence, walk hundreds of meters to dispose of his shoes, return to the scene, and fake unconsciousness. The court agreed. In October 2005, Nils Gustafsson was acquitted of all charges. To this day, no one has been convicted. 3 teenagers were brutally murdered. One survived, but remembers almost nothing. The weapon was never found. The killer was never identified. Lake Bodam remains silent, and whatever happened there in the summer of 1960 was never truly explained.